Yeah, I hit the start button because we were late.
That's
And
fine. So look, I don't know if this is going to cause any kind of echo or feedback issue. Obviously,
no,
I'm running behind and I don't have enough time to figure out what's wrong with my headphones. I can't hear you through them, so I'm having to hear you through my speakers.
right. So I
Is it
would say
causing any
you
kind
have
of
some
issue?
right now. I hear a mild echo there. I don't know how bad it is for the audience. We'll have to see what they say.
All right.
So, guys, let us know what you think as far
I
as
sent you the updated thumbnail before people roast me in the chat if they haven't already. Yes, I know it says
I
Friday.
did not. Before you came on, I did not have an email from you.
Okay, well, you should have it now. I'm sorry. I'm
Well,
updating it on
too
my
late
end.
now where the show's already going. Um, oh, yeah, the thumbnail came 2 minutes after we were supposed to start.
Sorry. I'm updating it on mine as we
Well,
speak.
I'm not going to stress over that right now. So, yeah, so we got a wonderful echo going because Danny's headphones are not working, I guess. Anyway,
I don't know. I had the Wave program like did an update, and I guess that maybe jacked it. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can.
and yeah, Danny's been getting lots of phone calls too. Um, and there he goes. Gonna be one of them days. Just gonna be one of them days. You almost came back. He almost came back. And he's back, maybe?
Sorry. Let me silence my phone because it's just stressing me out. It's been a hectic day, in a good way, but I'm trying to. Anyway, we'll talk later in a sec. In happier news, yesterday was my 30th day, and I got this bad boy
Oh, that's
at
good.
the meeting. I still got to take a picture to send Jason because I know he said he wanted one. So.
All right. Well, I'm very proud of you for managing that. That's a big deal. I do want to ask you, man, that echo's going to get annoying, but not much we can do about it. Do you know who this is? You're muted.
That's the chick from the what's the Ozarks? Chick from the Ozarks.
Okay. Well, good. You've seen the show then. This is Silver Surfer.
The fuck out of here!
Nope. I am not kidding.
Oh my god. Okay.
Now, to be fair, because I don't want people to think that I'm just like going on some crazed thing about some craze like Phantom Menace kind of thing. She is playing Shalabel, who is even in the 616 universe, Norrin Rad, aka the Silver Surfer's lover. She would be the reason that he sacrificed himself to save his home world. And Danny is wondering about, so we'll give him a minute here.
I'm listening. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So there was a female Silver Surfer in the comics, and it was this character, but this was in Earth 9997 or something like that. This was a limited run from 1999 called Earth X. And I don't know much. I've never read Earth X. I don't know, because that's after I stopped reading comics anyway. But my understanding is that basically in this alternate timeline, Galactus was killed. Norrin Rad's Silver Surfer realized that Galactus must exist, so he recruits the help of Franklin Richards, who then assumes the identity of Galactus. But then Franklin Richards is Galactus, and Silver Surfer, Norrin Rad's Silver Surfer, becomes the Herald again. But Galactus realizes that Norrin Rad shouldn't be alone, so he turns her into a female surfer so that there are technically two surfers. However, they haven't said anything about Norrin Rad. They've only said that they've cast her. So whether they are changing up the story to where she becomes Silver Surfer and Norrin Rad is left back on the planet and she sacrificed herself, or whether this is the Earth X story or something totally different, we have no idea.
Well, I don't know. I'm
Yeah, Stan Lee says she gets the power cosmic from boning Norrin.
oh God.
That is not true.
Why?
But that's
Are my headphones not working? It's just what the
well,
hell?
you know what? It's no worry, no point in stressing over that. The reason your headphones are not working is because they're not working.
Yeah.
I mean, is your computer sound output set correctly and all that?
Everything looks like it's correct. I know that my Wavelink software did an update yesterday. That's
Why
the
are
only thing
you
I could-
using it? I don't.
I-
You know, I have the same setup as you. I don't use Wavelink.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't because that's the only thing I can think of. So.
The more to paraphrase Mr. Scott, the more complicated they make the plumbing, the easier it is to stop up the drain.
The drain. Yeah.
So there's no point in adding Wavelink unless you need it for something, and you don't.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought I would, show you the future of the MCU. Apparently,
The I don't know. The only thing I'm looking forward to from them is Deadpool.
yeah. The funny thing is that with her features and everything, I think she'd make a better Sue Storm than
Right?
But to have her be Silver Surfer makes no freaking
And
sense.
it's mildly depressing that my breasts are bigger than hers, and that's more something about me than her. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. It makes me very insecure. I gotta get these things lopped off.
Well, rather than getting them lopped off, why don't you try exercising?
Because I've done that and I've lost weight. Even when I was 190 pounds, I still had moobs that you can't target where you lose the weight. Everybody will tell you that.
Yeah, but you can build up muscle in those areas that will stretch it out. Like,
Even The Rock had his moobs. This is true. You can Google it. Back in the 90s, late 90s, he had his moobs removed because, and we're talking about The Rock. He still had little tiny saggy man boobs, so he had them removed.
Okay.
True story.
I'm sure.
I am no Rock though, so I get that.
That much we can agree on. So speaking of no Rock, let's talk about Godzilla X-Con. Godzilla
you don't want to get
Cross-Con.
you don't want to get X-Men out of the way first.
Well, I'd rather finish on a higher note.
Really? Because I thought the episode sucked, so that's fine.
Okay. By
There's
the way,
going to be a Nerd Fights episode today, folks. Strap on in.
I do have my little Kong drink topper.
See, man, I don't have the kind of money you do. I was lucky to it was $11.50, and I went on, it was supposed to be cheaper. Oh, no, it was Wednesday. Damn it. That's why.
Yeah,
I went on
Tuesdays
Wednesday.
are cheaper.
Yeah, I meant to go Tuesday. I went and saw it last night.
Well, what you should do, and it's not like I have tons of money that I'm spending. However, I do have, and I know you don't go to an AMC theater, and that's probably your biggest problem. So I pay $20 a month, and I can see all the movies I want.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, for that, I would go to AMC. It's just a little further away.
Well,
I
you can do that.
I go to the South Point Cinemark just because I can get there in 8 minutes. It's an 8-minute drive.
Right. But $20 a month, and you can see 3 movies a week, anytime, any screen.
Well, this is a light year for movies. That might be a better deal next year. But I'll
If
look
you
into
see
it.
more than one movie in a month, it pays for itself.
I've been to the movie theater more in the past probably 4 weeks than I have the previous year.
Right.
Easily.
But that's
Easily.
Yeah. But you know what? we've got this, we've got Planet of the Apes, we've got. I mean, there's at least a couple of movies a
So
month.
what you're saying is I should look into this AMC thing.
No, I'm not saying you should. I'm saying I did because I looked at the release schedule and it's like,
Because
okay.
I went and saw that horrible Dune 2. I saw the delightful Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and then I just saw this movie, and I can't.
I'm sorry, you're a little confused. You saw the masterpiece that was Dune 2 and the crap fest that was Ghostbusters.
Okay, yeah. So, again, nerd fights, folks. If we agreed on everything, it'd be a boring ass show.
If we agreed on anything, it would be a surprise. So, Godzilla X Kong. What's your hot take on this one?
Wow. So my hot take is, for all you people who complain that there weren't enough monsters and too many people, well, they completely did a 180. There's like 20 minutes of humans, and the rest is the cartoon ridiculousness, including 80s cheesy cornball music that is monster fights. I turned my brain off to try to enjoy it, and then I fell asleep. Fortunately, I fell asleep during the last 30 minutes. So when I left the theater, the theater right next to me was showing the same movie, and it started 40 minutes after mine. So I asked the lady, "Hey, I fell asleep. Can I watch the last 30 minutes?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. I don't care." So I went in there, and I was able to see what I slept through. But there was a stretch there where there was no dialogue because the monsters don't talk, and it was just straight 15, 20 minutes of the monsters.
Well, that was towards the beginning of the movie, actually.
And it was just, I don't know. I was mostly bored. Mm-hmm. I actually liked the human stuff. So I mean, shit. Vader loved this movie. So I mean, go figure. I don't know, man. So I'm interested to get your take on it. It was, if you could turn off your brain, but not as much as I did, because like I said, I fell asleep, and just eat your popcorn and watch it. It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon, a ridiculous, over-the-top cartoon that happens to be live action. Okay. So.
And Anthony, to answer your question, why is it X instead of versus? Because it's not a versus movie; it's a tag team.
Oh, dude!
It's a WWE.
When I saw
I told you.
Yeah.
It's a WWE tag team.
Godzilla literally gives Kong a suplex off of one of the pyramids, like a WWE, suplex. It was hilarious. I was like, oh my God.
I think you mean he gave it to Scar King.
No. It was while they were fighting at the pyramids. It was Godzilla did it to Kong.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It was their little fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, woke alert, Mothra is the one that had to tell the boys to stop fighting. And so,
yeah.
Which I thought was kind of funny. Okay, so I think you're dead wrong about the human stuff. I think there was too much of it, and B, it was no good. The human stuff was beyond stupid. It was
all corny. I mean, like, they kept playing, like, normally I like 80s music. We're talking like Loverboy. This was terrible 80s music, first of all. And the guy was clearly phoning it in and just doing his best Ace Ventura impersonation. It's so bad they even refer to him in the movie as Ace Ventura. So it's like,
and what he's talking about is there's a veterinary guy who is an expert on treating titans. So I will say this: of all of the MonsterVerse content that has been released, only Monarch is worse.
I would agree with that, 100%. Wow, I can't believe we're agreeing on this. I would agree with that. Yeah.
So, well, I think the difference is,
and with Monarch just coming out and them having gotten a second season, and this movie spent so much time in a Hollow Earth, where the hell was the age dilation thing? The time you know what I mean?
Right. Well, not only that, but like, where was any connection to Monarch?
Well, I mean, they had
Even
the little.
Easter egg.
The movie opens up with the chick with the.
No, I don't mean Monarch the corporation. I mean Monarch
the TV show.
Series.
Yeah, there wasn't, was there? Not at all.
The closest thing you could possibly come up with is that Monarch featured a monster, a kaiju that used ice powers, and so did this. But they weren't the same monster, clearly.
No, it looked like I wanted to call my son. It looked like a a blue-eye white dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh. looked
And
just
Stanley,
like that
yeah,
thing.
okay. So I heard a critic say this, and I agree with him 100%. The thing that benefited this movie the most is the fact that it comes out just a few months after Godzilla minus one. But the thing that hurts this movie the most is that this movie comes out just a few months after Godzilla minus one.
See, and I
Godzilla,
still haven't seen
yeah,
minus one, but I
Godzilla
did
minus
catch.
one is the best Godzilla movie ever made,
See,
and you
so
still haven't seen
this
it
might
because you're a
be
horrible person.
all I need to know. So I do try to still support my salty nerd brothers, but I don't get to anymore. Really, I did catch their review of this movie, and it's funny because Alex and Vader didn't like Godzilla minus one, but they love this movie, and I think that tells you all you need to know about those guys. So
What's wrong with them?
exactly, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Because look, I mean, I think King's Portal. I think Shin Godzilla sucked. I didn't like that one. If you haven't seen that, like Godzilla's just like
Oh
constantly
wow!
evolving through that one, and
Like mother, like son. Did you see my mom's comment? She fell asleep too. Sorry, mom.
the fight at the end, Godzilla and Kong win.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's. I mean, well, she didn't know how the fight ended. Godzilla and Kong win.
Yeah, mom. I don't know if you were here when I said I got lucky and they let
Although
me catch
Donkey
the tail
Kong
end.
actually gets the final blow.
Oh, the little one.
Yeah,
The little.
yeah. I call him Donkey Kong because
Yeah, I can see
I know
that.
it's kind of pseudo the Son of Kong. I guess you could say they're doing a Son of Kong.
Well, by
story
the end,
there.
he was the adopted son of Kong. He's like earlier in the movie, he grabs him and uses him as a weapon, and then at the
Yeah.
end of the movie, he's holding his hand up
That was
again
the
like
one,
a wrestling match.
That was the one genuinely entertaining moment in the movie is when Kong beat the crap out of a baby.
Well, no, not only beat the crap, he grabbed the baby by the arm like
Yeah,
Hulk did Loki.
I'm not trying to do a play-by-play. I'm just saying that's that's the one part of the movie that I felt was truly entertaining. Was because it was one of those like, how many times have I said, "Oh, this would be the best movie ever if they just punched her in the face"? Well, they do it with a baby. They
Yeah.
just, they literally just like Kong's just like, "Okay, I'm going to beat the crap out of this baby," and it was like it was absolutely hilarious because the baby deserved it.
Yeah,
know-
the little punk, like Kong is
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're a cute little thing," and he puts his finger out, and the little punk bites it. And he's like,
Yeah.
he's like, whack.
Yeah.
He's like- or he
and then
kicks him. No,
uses
after
it
he
as
bit him, he
monkey
kicked him. I think.
chucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
just so yeah, that was great. But overall, I'll tell you, the visual effects suck.
They really, really did.
And-
When I switched, when I got to go to the other theater, it was an XD theater. So I got to see the last 30 minutes on a way bigger screen that's got supposedly more colors.
We always
and
go to
higher
the
def.
big screen because
I usually do, man, but I was poor
pass.
and I couldn't afford it. Again, it was $11.50 just for the cheap.
Get the
ticket.
frickin' monthly pass. Then you can
Okay.
stop bitching about the cost.
So anyway, on the XD screen, it actually looked worse. The special effects did.
And the problem isn't that, like, you can see the picture right here. That doesn't you look at that still frame and you're like, well, that doesn't look particularly bad. And sure, if you've seen the trailer, you might think it looks a little weird that Godzilla's running, but other than that, it doesn't look horrifically bad.
And was it just me, or it seemed like Kong was smaller in this movie than in
No. Well, here's the problem. And this was a problem with the visual effects throughout the entire film. None of the kaiju ever feel like you're looking at anything more than a guy in a rubber suit.
Yeah, and it's digital, which was
right.
weird. I felt the same, especially Godzilla. He looked like a dude in a suit.
And the reason it looks that way is because if you go back and look at all the other MonsterVerse films, what they do very carefully with Godzilla is they move him slowly. He's lumbering. And when his arm, he stops moving his arm, but then the flesh on his arm moves and waves for a half a second after he stops moving because there's just so much mass there. But here, it just feels like these are creatures that are maybe 10 feet tall. And
Yeah, that
and
scene at the
especially since
beginning.
most of the fighting is done in scenes like what you see here, where there's no buildings and people. You
Well,
know,
what I was actually about to say was that scene at the beginning in Rome. It looked like when Godzilla's walking around, it really looked like a guy in a suit to me for some
right?
reason. You know,
And it's just because they didn't take the time. And I don't know what the budget was for this one compared to Godzilla versus Kong. I'm guessing they spent less on this movie, because I think they spent a lot less on the on the animation. It's the same digital models basically, although Godzilla gets an upgrade, and so does Kong with his robot arm, which makes no effing sense. The robot arm absolutely makes no sense, because even if they have some ham-fisted explanation to why
So
they
it was
have
$135 million budget. I don't know what the previous movie.
I think the last one had close to a $200 million budget. So
Okay.
yeah, there's a big difference in spending. But this
What was
is
the
the
name of the
problem.
last one? Was that what was
Godzilla versus Kong.
that was the last one? Was Versus? Okay.
Yeah. It's either versus or Kong versus Godzilla or whatever. It was, yeah.
Okay, so that one had, let's see, Godzilla versus Kong budget was that 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were right. Had a $200 million budget. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. They shouldn't have
And,
skimped on the special effects, man.
well, but here's the problem.
Didn't this movie make $200 million opening weekend? I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
they could have spent 200 on this.
Well, but you see, and here's the problem. Godzilla -1 or -0, whatever it's called, Godzilla minus, was made for $15 million.
I know, that's unreal. That's crazy to me.
15.
That's like a Clerks
That's
budget.
That's the
That's less than
catering
Clerks.
budget for this movie.
No, I'm kidding. Clerks was 30,000.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that's the catering budget for this movie.
Yeah, right.
That's insanity, because and Godzilla, well, yeah, it's Godzilla in that movie doesn't do a whole lot of stuff like he does in this movie. Even though Godzilla is, by the way, barely in this movie, just in case. This is King Kong, and by the way, guest starring Godzilla. This is really Skull Island 2 with guest star Godzilla. That's what we get here. Because the whole story revolves around Skull Island. Kong is really the main character of the film.
Skull Island is still the best one.
And by the way, interestingly enough, Kong, the animated creature, is the best actor in this film. You could read Kong's emotions. You can see what's going on. Whoever did the mocap and stuff for Kong's face deserves an Academy Award.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I do agree.
You got a whole lot quieter. Did you switch mics?
Let me. I just got. Yeah, microphone was changed to default. Ah, shit.
Which is probably your webcam mic.
Yeah, I'll try to fix it, guys. I'm sorry. Damn it.
But yeah, like the shot, and it's funny because trailers always try to mislead you a little bit, and they show in the trailer a shot of what looks like Kong staring down the big bad and being terrified. But actually, what's going on in that shot, when you see Kong's face there, is he first sees that there are hundreds of Kongs and they're being held prisoner. And he's horrified at what he sees. And so, and he's seeing fellow great apes being abused and stuff like that. And so that was actually a very powerful scene for him. The problem is that the rest of the movie, other than Kong's acting, sucked. Everything about it. There's nothing about this movie. Okay, so the Power Glove thing. They have a ham-fisted explanation to why they have it. And look, it's a Voyager level technobabble BS reason, right? But they have the arm. And the reason that they need it is because Kong got sprayed with the ice breath of this kaiju, and he's going to die because of frostbite. So they put the thing on him, which, of course, putting a glove on your hand doesn't cure frostbite. But then they inject him with a super serum that somehow just magically cures his frostbite. And they even say, well, the serum ought to fix the frostbite. Then what do you need the arm for? But you're muted. You can't hear you. I didn't realize you were saying something. You're completely muted. And yes, the deaf girl, she's not deaf, she's mute. Well, I think actually she is deaf. But yes, and she's a main character as well, because remember, her tribe are the people from Kong Skull Island. And it looks like, I'm assuming Danny is rebooting or has internet problems. So, but yeah, so I'll talk about that for a minute. So yeah, the tribe of people from Kong Skull Island are a major part of the story here. And remember, in Kong versus Godzilla, she's the sole survivor of the tribe because the island, and again, stupid technobabble BS, the island that's constantly surrounded by a storm to protect the island, for whatever reason, the storm suddenly turns against the island and kills everybody but her. Yeah, whatever. But the they plug this arm into him. They inject him with the super ape soldier serum so that his frostbite is just instantly cured. But he still gets to keep the power glove. And I know if you haven't seen this movie, which I do not recommend, and by the way, I know we've already been spoiling stuff. Big spoiler warning, just don't watch this if you really care about this, but look, the movie is crap. Some of the monster fights are entertaining, so there's that. If that's all you care, like if you enjoyed, man, hopefully Danny will get back soon. I don't know if you can hear any of what I'm saying as I just dropped my mouse. But if you enjoyed movies like Godzilla versus Megalon, this is a bigger budget version of Godzilla versus Megalon. Where really the human story is just there to pad out the runtime, and the real interesting part is just watching the WWE style tag team match with Godzilla and Guest on one side and two evil monsters on the other. The only difference is the two evil monsters on the other, there's more to it than both just being evil. Scar King, the ape, is evil, but he's also and pardon my French, a complete pussy. Scar King is not even worth being in this movie. And I don't even understand what they were thinking with Scar King, because not only is he no match for Godzilla, he's no match for Kong. He's the weakest kaiju in the entire film. It makes no sense whatsoever that this is how they designed their big bad for this movie, to be the weakest character. I mean, what were they? That would be like if you had Vin Diesel and The Rock going up against Leonard from Big Bang Theory. It makes no sense whatsoever. Because the only thing he's got going for him is that there's this really intense kaiju called Shimu, and that's a big white dragon. When I say dragon, kind of shaped like Godzilla, but a little different, and bigger than Godzilla, probably about 30-40% bigger than Godzilla, and fires ice breath. And one shot of ice breath almost killed Kong midway through the film. And so this thing is no joke. So Shimu, I think that's how it's called. But anyway, that should have been, that's a good baddie. Now, if you had like Shimu and Ghidorah against Godzilla and Kong, that would have been intense. But this was like, oh, look, they've got, Shimu, who is like even tougher than Godzilla, and this really wussy guy who doesn't even deserve to be in this film. Um, and Stan says, well, Kong is from the tropics. Well, no, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense that the ice breath, because remember, in King Kong versus Godzilla, uh, yeah, and in fact, yeah, Stanley, Mecha Godzilla in the last film was a real threat. You're still muted right now. Check your settings. Um, so he was like Snoke. No, he was not like Snoke, creep, because Snoke at least appeared to be a genuine threat. Like in the Last Jedi, if you watch my Last Jedi review, I talk about Snoke looks like a total badass when he shoots the lightning off the floor and it ricochets and knocks Kylo over. Right, that's actually really cool. Snoke got taken out like a punk, but which was really bad writing. But Snoke appeared to be a genuine threat. Scar King never in the entire movie appears as a threat at all. He is like half the size of Kong. And you can see in this shot here, Kong is like half the size of Godzilla. So you tell me what kind of a threat Scar King is. It makes no sense whatsoever. And you still can't hear you. Try going back to your other mic. See if. And hey, Gorilla's Random Thoughts, how you doing? Gorilla, I was thinking about you the other day because I drive for Uber when I can, and I saw a Gorilla's Auto Repair.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. That's my webcam microphone.
Right, I can tell. It's all right. Just go with that for now and deal with it later.
Yeah, okay. Apparently, I can either get my headphones or my microphone to work, so I don't get it. I'll figure it out.
I would say this: uninstall Wave from your system and then just start over again.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
All right.
Anyway, so I was on a big old tirade about how Scar King.
I was listening on my phone.
Okay, yes. Yeah. Scar King. What do you think of what I was ranting about? Because I hated Scar King.
It was, first of all, you left a couple things out. I really liked what'd you call the snow kaiju, the blue-eyed white dragon one?
I think it's Simu or Shimu or something like that.
Shamu. Anyway. That was being controlled somehow with a crystal by that asshole orangutan.
Right, that's the only reason he had power.
Yeah, so like at the end of the movie, he joins Kong and it becomes a good guy because I guess he was really always a good guy. He was just being controlled by that jerk. And he's bigger than Godzilla because at the end of the movie, Kong is riding that fucker like a horse on the, you know what I mean? So it's kind of cool. I just didn't. I didn't like the movie. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I enjoyed it more than Dune 2, but it just.
Dude, I'm going to kick you off the show if you say that again.
Okay. All right. Well.
Please. Now, I would say this. I'd put it on par with Ghostbusters. Oh, what happened?
Oh, my God. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, let me keep talking. I'll try. As long as you can hear me, I'll try to fix this. Sorry. God.
And Stan, I think the movie is like right around 2 hours long. It's not pacing that's the issue. The issue is, okay, the story is so dumb. Let me tell you about the setup for this story. You ready for this? The setup is, hey, look, King Kong's down living in Hollow Earth and he gets a toothache. That's the setup.
That's not even a joke. That's the truth.
Yeah.
He leaves Hollow Earth to go to Earth to get his tooth fixed. That's how this movie starts.
Yeah.
I did like how they made Kong smart, though, like with all the booby traps he set up and stuff.
Oh yeah, Kong is no dummy, but then we knew that from King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, but I
Is
really liked how they showed it more
right,
in this with him planning and plotting
right.
and
But then
tricking and
Scar King uses tools and stuff as well.
yeah.
The apes are obviously smart, and the so that I kind of buy into. I don't have a problem with that.
Can you see me now?
No, but it's well. Try check to make sure your virtual camera's turned on because I see the OBS symbol now. Before I didn't see that.
Okay.
But the yeah, Scar King being. I mean, come on. With the they could have just had Scar King be bigger. You
Well,
know,
in the promotional art, and I don't know if it was fan art or from the studio, but he looked a lot different in the movie than he did in the promotional art.
no,
You
you're
know,
talking about fan art. I've seen some
is
of
that
that
what it
fan art
was?
where yeah,
Okay.
they make him look big and buff. Yeah,
Yeah.
Scar King has always been kind of gangly, but if they
Okay.
made him like twice as tall, but that would have been fine. Or if they made him like some of the fan art where he was just big and buff and like bigger than Godzilla, that would have been good. And in fact, make him so smart that he has like armor that would be resistant to Godzilla's breath or something. You know that.
Yeah. Well,
But
wasn't the whole storyline he was trapped down there by
by
Godzilla
Godzilla, yeah,
hundreds of years ago, or even maybe longer than that? You know,
yeah.
it was like it was the exposition dump where they're reading the hieroglyphics, where they
Well, the
tried to
humans are
explain
just
that.
there for exposition.
Yeah.
That's the only reason for. But the problem is, look, do I want aliens from Planet X like in some of the old Japanese Toho films? No, but that would have been more entertaining than the humans we got in this. The this was just but when I and oh man, there's so much I that made me angry. The visual effects sucking, the story just being a complete waste of time. At least in Godzilla versus Kong, while the story was about the evil corporation making Mechagodzilla, but there was some logic to it. In this, it makes no sense whatsoever. Because, okay, so underneath the Earth, you have Hollow Earth. But guess what? Underneath Hollow Earth, there's, and I'm not making this up, subterranean Earth.
The subterranean uncharted. Yeah.
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 And so, what's
And
under
that's
that?
where
What are we going to find in the next movie?
well, that's where Scar King lived, right? Was it the
Yeah,
subterranean?
he was in subterranean Earth.
Yeah.
And that's where Scar King and all the other apes were trapped. And but then, as it turns out, there's a huge glowing wall that all you got to do is go through the wall, which would be so obvious to anybody looking around because it's the only gigantic wall in the place. And you go through this huge glowing wall, and look, that's where the Iwi tribe lives, and they got all the portals to go to the surface, which is all Scar King wanted because he wanted to invade the top side.
Yeah. Hey, I got to reboot. I don't know what the hell's wrong with my
Yeah,
camera.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Okay. I'll be
Stanley,
back.
no, they don't address how the Hollow Earth specifically has a sun kind of lighting effect, but you kind of get at least in subterranean Earth, not Hollow Earth, but in subterranean Earth, which this shot that you see behind us right now of Kong and Godzilla charging is in subterranean Earth. It would appear that the illumination of the world is from those crystals. However, all the fan speculation about Godzilla going pink because of the pink crystals that we see, in the background, no, not at all. The only reason Godzilla goes pink is because he kills a monster. By the way, kills the monster off screen, who's the most powerful monster ever, apparently, and absorbs solar energy. And when Godzilla kills that monster, he absorbs all that extra solar energy, and that's what turns him pink. There's no actual explanation other than that. They just mention that this monster Godzilla is going after has got more solar energy stored up than anything else in the universe, and that after Godzilla kills it and absorbs its energy, he's pink. For and now look, it's not a woke thing, creep. I know I joked about that before we saw the movie, that oh no, Godzilla's trans or Godzilla's a girl or whatever. No, the color changed because of the energy he absorbed, and that's fine. Um, and yeah, there's so Godzilla figures out that bad things are, basically the whole thing with Godzilla's story is so limited in this, it's ridiculous. But Godzilla's whole story is that he figures out that Scar King and his gang are going to bust out. So Godzilla starts wandering around the earth, absorbing all the energy he can to prepare for the fight. And so he absorbs he absorbs a nuclear reactor, he absorbs a couple of kaiju, and then he meditates for a while and comes out upgraded and super powerful. Um, so that's it. That's Godzilla's entire story. And then Kong shows up, and of course Godzilla and Kong hate each other, so they fight for a minute. While Kong is trying to convince Godzilla just through hand gestures and stuff. And again, where they did put a little bit of effort, I think they did a good job with, which is to have Kong non-verbally trying to communicate. It really, you could tell what Kong was trying to do. They never explained how Kong was going to get Godzilla to come down to Hollow Earth and help him, but they showed when Godzilla's charging at Kong, Kong's like holding up his hands and trying to get him to not fight, and Kong is holding back the whole time, just trying to calm Godzilla down until it just becomes apparent that Godzilla's not going to calm down. So then Kong unleashes the power glove. So, which brings me to another wonderful point about this movie, and hopefully Danny can hear me right now. Everybody that I know of joked about, and I see Danny's back. Can't hear you yet. I could tell by your lips what you were saying. And now your camera's shut off, or did you leave? I don't know. Yeah, reptiles are hard to reason with. That is true. So everybody I know of, joked that the thing on Kong's arm was the Power Glove, the old Nintendo product, right? But the stupid thing is, oh, and Danny's back maybe. Still don't hear you. The stupid thing about it is that it literally is a power glove. And when I say that, I mean, and how Kong knows how to do this, they do not explain. They do not have any exposition to cover this at all. But apparently Kong can charge it up and punch somebody with lightning punches. How? No freaking idea. They don't even try to explain it. It's just a cool visual effect. And so Kong has a literal power glove. I think you're probably right, Mike Richards. It's probably Kurogan sabotage, which is the reason that Danny's having so many problems. Hopefully he can get it working here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
I guess the only way this is going to work is I can't get this. It's only going to do one or the other, apparently.
Find your safe place.
God's not going to give me anything I can't handle. I'll figure this out.
Well, that's not true. Eventually, you're going to die.
Yeah, but then I'll be. Never mind. I don't want to get all philosophical.
Well, so did you hear what I was saying about the Power Glove?
Yeah, that whole scene was talk about Deus Ex Machina. Because like, oh, we just so happen to have this thing. It just so happens to be here. It just so happens it's for his arm. It just, it's like, come the f on, man. Good lord.
And the government putting the kibosh on the project. I can't remember what the project was called, but something like Project Badass Monkey or something.
So, yeah, it was
And they
Project Power Glove.
yeah, the reason that the government canceled the project was because the federal government decided it probably wasn't a good idea to make one of the world's most powerful monsters more powerful. Well, go figure. Dr. Scotty thinks you need to eat some mushrooms. I don't think that would be a good idea.
What? Who, me?
Yeah.
No, no, no. First of all, that counts. Like, I can't even smoke pot anymore if I want to keep getting these chips. And I want to collect them like Pokemon cards. Look at this. Here's chip number 1, chip number 2. Yeah.
When's the next one?
60 days. They do 30, 60, 90 in a year. Yeah, I think that's how it goes. 30, 60, 90 in a year. We'll see.
Yeah. So, yeah, this movie, I know people say it's dumb but entertaining. So, are the monster again? And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but this is just the modern version of Godzilla versus Megalon.
I've never seen.
You know,
I've never seen Megalon. So there's some in my computer settings. I think. Did you hear that speaker chime thing a second ago?
no, I did not.
Hold up. Did you hear that?
No.
Oh, never mind. It's just it was so clear it came. Never mind. It's just coming through my headphones.
Yeah, it's your headphones. Can't hear things from your headphones. But yeah, Godzilla versus Megalon is the single dumbest Godzilla movie ever made. And interestingly enough, it involves people who live under the surface of the earth, except that they're the bad guys and they release Megalon to attack the earth. And Godzilla has to defend the earth. And he doesn't have Kong, he has the help of a robot named Jet Jaguar. And yeah, stupidity ensues, but it is a tag team wrestling match with people wearing monster suits. Here we have a tag team wrestling match. I mean, that I think that what they did was they got some WWE wrestlers to duke it out, and they just put them in mocap suits,
Yeah.
and that's what we ended up getting. So yeah. So what would your score out of 10 be for Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire? And you gonna say something? You're muted again. Stop messing with your settings. When you had it working, just leave it alone. Can't hear you.
Right, so I'm just
There
going
you
to
go.
have to. It's just the webcam.
Yeah, just stay with it. Stop screwing around with it.
All right, it's bugging me. Anyway.
Yeah, but it's not worth fighting over for the entire show.
Okay. I'm struggling, man. Somewhere between a 5 and a 6, maybe a 5.5. I don't know. So I'm thinking in terms of criticless. Let me see. What would that be in criticless? So I don't think it deserves rad. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know the naming conventions there completely yet.
Yeah, I'll let it be decent. I'm gonna give it a 50%. If you like just, I don't know, Rampage, the video game on your screen, check it out, I guess. But it's
Yeah.
the special effect. I mean, to me, this didn't even feel like this movie should have felt like something you have to see in the theater. But all that seeing it in the theater did for me was make me realize how shitty
Yeah.
the special
Stanley,
effects
this
were.
was way worse than Dune. I mean, come on. Dune was a freaking epic masterpiece.
This was slightly better than Dune, in my opinion, but
That's where Danny is. What did you give Dune in your review?
I want to say I gave it a 20 or 30%. I can look
Wow,
it up.
you are such a dick. You have no appreciation for good sci-fi.
Hold up. I gave Dune a 20% bogus. Yeah, 2 out of 10. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm going to give this 5. Yeah, 5 out of 10.
And Stan, okay, so when I say the CGI is
Take it or
bad,
leave
let me clarify what I mean. The quality of the models, the quality of the rendering, the quality of the lighting is all great. It's the animation that sucks.
There were several times it just kind of looked fake. Like good
Well,
CGI.
that's because of the animation. It's not because the models are bad
Yeah.
or anything like that. The reason it looks so bad is because they don't feel like they're giant. They feel like they're 10 feet tall and then shot in a way to look like they're giant.
Yeah. Now the close-ups on Kong's face when when he's acting was good, but the full body shots. I mean, it just looked, it just didn't look right.
Right.
I can't. You're doing a better job explaining it than I am.
So yeah, I wouldn't. I would probably give it about a 5.5 to 6 as well. Did I find some mild amusement out of it? Yes. When it was only monsters on screen, it was entertaining enough. To be the way I described it to someone is like if you compare this to all the Godzilla movies, it's on the high side of average. But if you just look at the legendary films, that's legendary films starting in 2014 through today. It's the bottom of the barrel. The only thing worse is the Monarch series.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Dr. Scotty, I actually did enjoy Wonka. The wife and I watched that.
I haven't seen Wonka yet.
Yeah. It's streaming. I don't remember where, like on Max or something.
Yeah, I only have Peacock because it's cheap, and Disney Plus because Mom paid for a year because she refused to let me cancel it because she watches.
Well, I told you, I get all my I get free
through Verizon. I know.
Yeah, I get the bennies from Verizon, and and you get Walmart Plus, and Paramount Plus comes with Walmart Plus, and Walmart Plus comes with Verizon. It's a nice little deal. But yeah, this movie is utterly forgettable, and if
I
they
literally fell asleep during it. So did my mom. So there's that.
Yeah. And no, Stan, I do not have a crush on Timothy Chalamet Ding Dong. However, I do think he's a good actor. Because if you look at the range there between his Wonka performance and Dune, he shows a lot of range there. And he really does feel like a younger version of the Gene Wilder character.
Oh, wow.
What?
That's stupid. To get my camera working again, I had to launch broadcast.
Dude, stop messing with it. Stop.
Okay. Sorry.
I told you to just leave it alone. It's working good enough for right now. Okay. Don't screw with it because then you're going to go out again.
I got you. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I get it.
The only Japanese movie you've seen is Mothra 1962. Well, I'll tell you, Godzilla 1954, when I was a little kid, scared the crap out of me. And its sequel, Godzilla Raids Again, was really good. But then, into the 70s, Godzilla became really cheesy. That's where the really bad stuff takes place. And then you have the next versions of Godzilla, which honestly I don't think ever matched the originals. But yeah. And he'll get it fixed by the end of the stream. No, he's going to have it completely broken by the end of the stream. All right, so there you go.
Well, but when the stream's over, I am going to, because this kind of stuff is what bothers me. You're not going to get the better of me, computer. I'll figure this out. I'll just do it when we're not live.
So Godzilla X Kong. What do you think the X is for?
I don't know. It's confusing. I don't like it. It's like Godzilla times Kong,
Well,
Godzilla
yeah. Why didn't they just call
and
it Godzilla
Kong.
and Kong?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the more I think, I can't give this more than a 5. Now, the more that I think about it.
Now, what I wouldn't mind seeing, like, as far, what do you think they should do for the next movie, assuming they go for it? Because rumor has it, and by the way, amazingly, this movie was directed by the same guy that directed the last one. However, the difference is that they had different screenwriters and obviously slashed budget.
Well, the tone was really different. The previous movies were serious and scary, and there were stakes. There were no stakes in this movie. It was goofy. It was like a cartoon. The music choices.
Oh, by the way,
were
everybody in
terrible.
Rio is dead.
Yeah, everybody in Rio's dead. Everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, and apparently
Rio
now,
gets nuked.
and apparently now the Colosseum in Greece is the doggy bed for Godzilla now.
Yeah, no joke. That's
Yeah.
Godzilla curls up, just like T'Pring is curled up in my lap right now. Godzilla curls up in the Roman Colosseum and takes not one, not 2, but 3 naps in this movie.
That's how they end the movie. Is
Yeah.
him going to bed. That's how they end the movie. He goes to bed in the Colosseum. Yeah. I was like, okay. It was just too corny for me. It was just too corny. They went from one extreme to the other. They went from like, we're taking this serious to like, hey, let's just like make it a Saturday morning cartoon, is what it felt like to me. And
Yeah, I almost feel like, kind of like we've been doing for Star Trek, we should go back and watch all the Godzilla movies now because I want a palate cleanser after that. Although
Right.
when Godzilla -1 comes out on streaming, I wonder if it's
I read somewhere they hired that director for some new Star Wars project. Is that true?
really.
Yeah. Well, so you haven't heard about that. Yeah.
No, look it up. Where'd you read that?
It was in my Google News feed. I just saw the headline. I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know, when you swipe right on a Google phone, you get the new news you're interested in. Somehow it knows
Yeah.
what I'm into. You know. Let's see. So Godzilla -1.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's available anywhere yet.
No, it's not. Star Wars. Here we go. So Godzilla. Okay, director Takashi Yamazaki has a great. Well, no, it looks like he gets Disney. What does that say? Gosh, I don't know. Then maybe I should just Google his name.
Let's see.
I miss Jason sometimes. Well, all the time. I actually do miss Jason. He's better at this than me.
So,
What?
yeah, it looks like Godzilla -1 is going to be a while before it goes to streaming. It's scheduled for a home video release in Japan. I think it said in May. Let's see. It's the
Okay,
highest
I guess
grossing Japanese live action film.
Yeah, it says the only thing I can find, if anybody in the chat wants to continue the research, I got bigger fish to fry. The only thing I can find is that Takashi Yamazaki wants to direct a Star Wars movie. So maybe, yeah. So, but anyway, I don't see why he'd want to. Apparently, that's where directors go to, like, get fired, or compromise their, creative integrity for the vision of Kathleen Kennedy.
Wow, dude.
Her bullshit woke agenda. No, seriously, man. I used to look forward to Star Wars movies. I used to look forward to Marvel movies, and they've fucking taken that away from me, and it's infuriating.
That's what Godzilla -1 looks like.
Mm-hmm.
On a $15 million budget.
Yeah.
As opposed to this with a $135 million budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, Godzilla is terrifying in Godzilla -1.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, there's a lot of destruction and stuff going, but there's no there's no stakes. And the only guy that like I at no time when I saw that dude with the accent that like was basically their chaperone, I was like, okay, that dude's gonna die and that's it. And I
Oh,
was
the
right.
Scottish guy.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
only dude that dies that we know. I mean, sure, there's lots of what do they call that? Collateral damage, like
Yeah.
lots. But
Well, he's the only character that dies. Yeah.
yeah, there was no. I didn't feel like there were
And
any
his character
stakes.
was, I'm a grumpy Scotsman.
Yeah, and the it wasn't
In fact,
scary.
that
No,
could have been the name of his character, was
right?
a grumpy Scotsman.
Yeah, it was. I was. I was a little. I was. No, I'm not. Not. I was let down. This movie let me down. It really did. And for my money, Kong Skull Island is the best one still that Legendary's put out. Or, the MonsterVerse movies.
I really do like that movie after we rewatched it, because we
Mhm.
watched all the Kong stuff.
Yeah.
Did we watch the MonsterVerse stuff?
No, we
The
only watched. We watched. I know we watched Kong Skull Island because we reviewed it.
right.
Um, that's the only one we watched together, other than this TV show.
Yeah.
Like I independently went back and watched all of the movies because of the TV show. Because I wanted because they work. It's so funny. It's like the people who made the show did not talk to the people who made this movie, even though the show did a lot to connect the tissue between every other movie prior to this one. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like, and they're making a season two. I don't know. Like this movie just feels like it could be in its own pocket universe because it's just silly. It's just silly. It's just
By the way, that the Scottish guy was just called Michael. That
ah
that's his character's name. But
ah.
it's not spelled like mine. It's Mikael.
Oh, okay.
So no relation. Um, but yeah, and Rebecca Hall, man, somebody give that woman a cheeseburger. Oh,
Is
she
that the
looks.
chick with the short hair?
It's the main character. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
yeah, she looks horrible. I don't know who told her but this is a problem in Hollywood right now, is where women. It's so funny because Hollywood is supposed to be so pro feminist and everything, and yeah, and they think that's beautiful, you know. And I'm sorry, she looked
At least
like
they didn't make her gay. I mean, there was plenty of insinuation between her and the trapper. Apparently, they were exes in college,
right,
or they dated in college.
right, but I'm just saying, I don't care about that. I'm just saying that her she looks horrible. And even though she's just as skinny in the last movie, she didn't look as bad. And a lot of it has to do with the hairstyle. Having her in
Yeah,
that butch hairstyle just ruined her, and changing the hair color.
and
It
it's
just,
kind of funny how the movie felt the need. Again, cartoony. It's
yeah, they
almost like
even
it's for
included
kids.
dialogue about her hair.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, nice. It's shorter with highlights. Good for you. I was like,
Yeah. And it's like,
really?
why? Good for her. It looks horrible. Why didn't somebody, at least I will give, look, for all the dissing that Marvel gets, hey, you know what? When Captain Marvel cut her hair, they made fun of it. Rocket was like, yeah, you're going to get another haircut, So I like that. So, and obviously everybody thought her hair looked stupid, so she grew it back for the
So
Marvels.
I don't necessarily believe in this shit, but apparently Mercury is in retrograde, and one of my hippie friends is telling me that's why I'm having these issues. So do
You
with
know
that
what?
information what you will.
Tell your friend, you know what? There's going to be a solar eclipse of your heart. Sorry.
I'm not even going to engage. You just can't engage. It's like I don't know. I got to send you this video privately. That is this. It's this chick, this left wing influencer chick, who is like thinks she's making a case against Trump, but she's actually
I've seen
making a
it.
very strong case for. Oh, you've seen it? Okay,
I don't think she's making a strong case for Trump. I think she's saying things that both Democrats and Republicans use as talking points, talking over each other. It's like when a Democrat points at a
Who
Republican.
is anybody seriously against term limits for congressmen and women? Is anybody against that? Like
Lots of people
really?
are,
Why?
because
They should have term limits.
it
They should
flies in
have.
the face of democracy.
No,
If
it
the
doesn't.
It
Presidents have
absolutely does.
term limits.
If the people want someone to serve for more than 2 terms, why shouldn't they have the right to do that?
So you think we got it wrong with the presidents? Like because we enacted term limits right because of FDR, because the dude was
Right.
they voted him in the 4th term when he was on a death's door. Like he shouldn't have even.
Oh,
been
you mean
punished.
like they're about to do with one of 2 people?
Exactly like what they're going to do.
Right.
So,
Well,
I mean,
so it doesn't really matter the term limits, does it? Because the problem isn't term limits. The problem is people are dumb enough to elect an octogenarian.
There should, how you have an age minimum. There should be an age limit also. I hate to be ageist, but if you can't run for president until
I don't
you're
necessarily
35,
think there should be an age limit. I think that, but I think that both Trump and Biden are incompetent. I don't want either one of them in office.
well, sadly, that's not
The-
how it works.
I,
No, look,
sure it
here's
does. I don't have to
no,
vote for either of them.
that's fine, and maybe we'll have the lowest voter turnout rate ever, which I'd be cool with. But here's the thing: you can't bitch and complain like we both love to do if you don't vote. And if
Sure.
I have to choose between, I'm sorry, and I can't believe I'm saying this, if I have to choose between Donald Trump and Sleepy Joe, I'm voting for Donald Trump. I'm sorry. And I can't believe I'm
Yes,
admitting
but the
this
thing is, you
publicly.
don't, and this is the problem. You don't have to choose between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. There are other candidates.
They should do a no confidence. That should be a
Just
thing.
vote for one of the other candidates.
No,
There
because no,
are.
think about it. If you had a none of
How
the
many
above
candidates
and
are there
none
in
of the above-
Nevada?
I don't even know, man, because
Well,
I'm
start
so
reading. Because that's the problem. Do you know why only the Democrats and Republicans win? Because they've convinced people that only the Democrats and Republicans can win. And so if people would stop voting for them, they wouldn't win. But the problem is everybody's so brainwashed to think that, well, we gotta.
Creep.
You-
Oh my God. Look at it. Creep, you're 100% right, dude. They were never not voting for that dude. It's crazy. Anyway.
But I don't care about term limits because you know what?
I do, because that's how you get people like Mitch McConnell. I don't know, man. I think, okay, if you don't want to give it 2 like the president, 4. I'll compromise with you. You got 4 terms. That's it, Jack. Then you're out of there. You know what I mean? It's
Look,
just,
and I think that the term limit. What I do think you should get rid of. I don't agree on term limits, but I do think that all forms of government pension for serving in an elected office should be eliminated. There's no reason that someone who is elected a term after term after term should then get a pension for it. There's absolutely no reason for that, except for I can understand for security reasons the president of the United States. And 16 years, Stan, that's 2 terms as a senator.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's almost a whole career. But anyway, I think, but as far as for the president of the United States this year, unless Trump goes to jail and someone else has to, and the Republicans have an open convention, which honestly, fingers crossed, but unless that happens, I'm voting third party for sure.
I'll have to do a little bit more research. You just gave me some kind of like sad sliver of hope, because if the Republicans need to get somebody, or we need a strong third party guy.
Well, here's the funny thing.
Or a girl. It just hasn't happened yet. And it's getting a little, Jesus, man, the election's this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And but here's the funny thing is that I think honestly, and I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, hear me right now. Whichever party ditches their front runner right now and puts somebody else in place automatically wins.
By like a landslide. By a landslide.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is well, not necessarily true, because if Biden stepped down, we'd be getting like the Kamala Harris lady, and she's a lightning rod. She's a whole different thing altogether. You know what I mean? She,
Who?
Kamala Harris, the
Oh,
vice president.
Kamala Harris, though, I don't think would be the nominee.
You don't? Okay, well then we might have hope. But who would? There's just nobody I can think of.
But by the way, to answer what Stan Lee was talking about, look, John Adams definitely had a seriously receding hairline, as did James Madison. John Quincy Adams was straight up bald. Martin Van Buren was straight up bald. So yes, we have had bald presidents.
We've had plenty of them. Who was that fat ass that died of a heart attack? Starts with an H. The president. Shit.
Dwight D. Eisenhower was practically bald.
Yeah.
Harry Truman was practically bald.
Why are we talking about this? Who cares?
Gerald Ford was practically bald. So yeah, and Biden ain't that far off. So Biden's hair is thinning fast.
No, he is bald. Those are plugs. He's been getting shit for that for years. He got that. He went bald in his 20s, man. Are you kidding me? Jesus.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you really want to see, I think, the most clear example of a bald president, look up Martin Van Buren, 8th president of the United States. The man looked like a nutty professor from the 18th or 19th century. And so, but clearly bald. Here, I'll even just for you, I'll add there's Martin Van Buren right there in all of his bald goodness.
So how the hell did we get on this subject?
Because it's more interesting than Kong and across Godzilla. So
you might have me lowering my score to a 4. Come on, like I thought we were done talking about that movie. It's just.
Is Trump bald? Well, I don't know. I mean, Trump is, I think, legally an orangutan, but I'm not 100% sure. So by orangutan standards, he would be.
Let's see.
That was a joke, by the way. You got to be careful these days. People get sensitive.
It doesn't even matter if you are careful. You want to hear something crazy, man? So I had to leave a show I'd been part of for a while because they had a problem with my newfound Christian beliefs and my newfound sobriety, and I was like, and then, like I thought they were joking at first, and then like turns out they're serious. So I was like, I can't associate with you fools anymore, man. It's like I, left their channel, left the Discord, whole nine.
I definitely need to move my camera so that my microphone's like completely blocking my face because the camera's too low. I need to raise it up. I'll try to do that before tomorrow. All right, so X-Men 97. Mike Richards says orangutans are all offended now. Well, they'll get over it.
Whatever. Hey, guys, can you hear me okay? I'm still paranoid about that.
Yeah, you know what? If I couldn't hear you, I'd tell you, okay?
I'm talking about the chat.
Yeah, but I can hear you fine. When I can hear you fine, they can hear you.
Okay.
So just relax. All right, so after the standard recap, we get some Jubilee on Sunspot action for about 20 minutes.
This part of the episode, like, you could take this whole first over half of the episode out and it have no bearing on the overall series so far. Now, I hope they prove me wrong because this just seemed like a big waste of my time. Wasn't a fan of this first part.
All right. So it's Jubilee's 18th birthday. She finds a game console in her room called the Motendo.
Motendo.
Yes.
Ooh, I wonder what that's alluding to.
And so, and the Motendo attaches itself to Jubilee and Sunspot, and they get sucked into the video game world.
Now, I'm not going to be like completely like a lot of the stuff was cool. I just didn't like it served no purpose. Like I like the little.
But look, not every episode of the X-Men animated series served a deep purpose. I mean, really, the
I'm
purpose.
only getting 10 episodes, Jack. Back then, I was getting more than 20. We're only
Well,
getting
you know
10
what?
episodes.
I can't help you there. You know.
Well, look, you don't waste my fucking time if I'm only getting 10
And
episodes.
you know what, Stan? I don't. Look, not every episode has to be about freaking Wolverine. And in fact, I like that.
Yeah,
I think they're using Wolverine well so far.
I do too. I like when they do character focus. But I'm just saying, if this first half of this seems like what it is to me, it serves no like if we watch all 10 episodes and I'm like, hey, remember that Jubilee episode? Could have taken that whole thing out and focused more on that.
Well, except that they only had 12 minutes worth of life death story to tell, and so they needed to pad it with something.
How can they only have 12 minutes? When I saw Life Death was in the title, I was like excited. I was like, oh shit, yeah. Like it was, they breezed through that story. Like, well, they went through 12 years and 30 minutes a week or so ago. So.
Right. So Mojo is messing around with them and forcing them to be in video
See,
games.
some of these little these callbacks were cool. I appreciated that.
I like the People's Court thing with.
Yeah.
And by the way, for those of you that don't know, that is right off the cover of Days of Future Past, right there. That poster in the background. Where all those mutants have been killed by the Sentinels.
Yeah.
So, and there he is, Lore Reloaded. That's what he. By the way, that is what Lore looks like without a shirt on. In case you're wondering, except hairier.
Never wondered for a second.
Well, now you know. But then they get there. They managed to outwit Mojo by having a digital version of her in the Matrix for reasons. And then they hug each other and they go back home, and that's pretty much it. Oh, except that they kiss. So Jubilee and Sunspot are officially a thing now.
You know, honestly, somehow I managed to miss that. I don't remember that happening. Wow.
Well, remember, I told you that while I do like this show, I do think that they're over sexualizing things. And this is just one more example. Was this relationship necessary?
Hey,
And yes, Stanley,
hey,
we do find out that from the adult version of Jubilee that her powers will eventually make it so she can make firework saw blades.
yeah. Yeah. It was funny. She was like, "Oh, I can do that," and then the chick's like, "Well, we can do that and a whole lot more." I'm paraphrasing, but
Yeah. Because you don't need no man, and then they start to scissor. It was really weird. But anyway, so
I
the
missed that too. Shit.
yeah, you missed that one.
Hey, at
So
least the relationship with Jubilee and Roberto is heterosexual one. So.
you know what I think the reason for the split, honestly, was because they wanted to do Life Death Part 1 and Life Death Part 2 because that's what the comics were called.
Oh, okay.
I'll bet you that's it. They just didn't want Life Death to be in a single episode.
Do we know the name of the next episode?
Yeah, Life Death Part 2.
The whole. That's it.
No, I look it up. It's the
Right.
episode names are out there. In fact, aren't they on your freaking thumbnail?
No, I just say episode 4 or whatever.
Yeah,
After,
they are on your freaking thumbnail, dude. Look at your thumbnail.
okay.
Next week is Remember It, and then the week after that is Life Death Part 2. That is so funny. You don't even know what's on your thumbnail.
I was deliriously tired. I went 2 days without sleeping again, and then I slept like 14 hours.
Yeah.
Behind. I've got to get my sleeping schedule on check.
Anyway, so Life Death Part 1 just tells the story of Storm eating chili with Forge, as Forge says, "Hey, I'm going to build a gadget to restore your powers," and then he fails.
Oh, no. You know what was the most... If you didn't read the comics, doesn't it seem a little sudden that Forge is like...
Well, Forge just came out of nowhere.
Well, not just... No, yeah, but the fact that he's telling Storm he loves her comes completely out of nowhere.
Right.
Like, as far as the animated audience knows, they just freaking met. How
Right.
can you be in love with somebody you just met?
Yeah. Well, and that's yeah, because in the last episode they meet in a bar.
Yeah.
Storm. He's just like, "Hey, I'm Forge. I'm a friend of Professor X, and I want to help
I
fix
mean,
you.
did
Save you.
did I miss it?
Fix your
Say
powers."
maybe like 6 months later or a year. Did I miss something like
I
that? Was there
didn't
a
catch
time jump?
anything like that.
Yeah. So from the perspective of the viewer, these fools just met. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where's the
Um,
motivation? There's motivation in the comic. Where's the motivation?
the
Why does he love her?
motivation
Why does he want to
is
help her? Well, no, he feels guilty because in the comic he made the weapon. In this, he didn't even make the weapon. They just based the weapon off of technology he had made in exchange for his upgrades or whatever. I don't know. This
the
after
excuse
how well
is
done they did last week's episode.
the
Going
excuse
through,
is they wanted yet another sexual relationship in the show, and so now they have one.
yeah.
So they have Sunspot and Jubilee, and they have Forge and Storm, both added this episode.
Well, no, she smacks him. She doesn't accept it. At least at the end of it. By the end, like maybe
Dude,
she'll.
this whole thing is a love story between the two of them. You know.
I know what it is in the comics, but like this is just not.
She
being
smacks
done right.
him, but then she also look at this scene here. I mean, it's your typical romantic story where there's a misunderstanding.
Yeah,
And
yeah. No,
you,
I
you know they're
I
going to
know.
get back together.
Yeah, I mean, it's just seems quick, rushed, too
Well,
rushed.
yeah, it does. I mean, that's like, where did the demon thing come from? I mean, that wasn't in Life Death, was it? I don't remember the demon thing.
I don't recall that, but
Yeah,
it's cool.
cool. All right, so that's it. That's the whole freaking episode.
Yeah,
Is Jubilee bangs Sunspot and Storm bangs Forge. That's the whole episode.
this is easily the weakest episode of
I
'97.
would have to agree.
Yeah.
You know,
Um, and if they don't, if that first part with Jubilee, if Mojo, like we're probably not going to see Mojo again. So the only point of that was to end with them kissing, which I didn't even remember. So it's just I don't know. They could have done it in a totally different way. I don't know. But I just wasn't into it.
yeah, yeah. And for all the people that were worried because the creator of this show was gay,
Exactly, Stanley. Hold up.
yeah.
That's exactly what I was saying. With only 10 episodes, if they had 20, I wouldn't complain at all about this episode because the video game stuff was fun, as you put it. But I'm only in 10 episodes, and they're telling some serious stories here from the comics, and I want them to do them justice.
Well, you just want Morph and Wolverine to get it on.
That has nothing to do with anything I just said because Morph is literally not even in the comics. You're killing me, bro.
Yeah, but that's why you want to see him get it on because they're
Not
doing.
even remotely. But you know what? Don't put that into the ether because every episode, people are falling in love and hooking up, and I don't want to see that before the end of this. But the world is woke enough. We
Oh
might
come
actually
on,
get
you
that.
wouldn't. You would bang Morph.
I mean, if he morphed into like insert whoever super hot chick is here,
Like if he morphed into a 98-year-old Gates McFadden.
No, no,
Yeah, you
no,
would.
no. See, you make the joke, but no. I find Beverly Crusher, Gates McFadden, most attractive. I would say probably during. Hmm,
You were acting like you wanted to stomp her
Generations. No, that's
during.
because no. Look, here's the thing. When you look at her, like in Picard season 3, she's a beautiful woman, and for her age, she's a
For
beautiful
her
woman.
age, she looks like
But when
she's
I
one of
look
the
at
Real
her, hold
Housewives.
up, hold up, hold up. You got kids, you'll understand this. So when I'm hanging out with my son Devin, who's 25, I swear to God, when I'm looking at him, I see like the 6, 7, 8 year old. I see like that's I look at my son and I see that. Don't you? Doesn't that happen to you? Like where with as a parent, hasn't that? You got older kids. Like, don't you sometimes, you know, maybe you're talking to your daughter and you're like, you see your favorite version of her. Like for me, my like 6 to 8 was probably actually 4 to
You're
8
making it really creepy.
was the most fun
But
time.
you're
No, with the
comparing a woman you want to bang to your children.
No, I'm not. I'm trying. The comparison is sometimes when you look at somebody you've known for so many years, sometimes when you look at them, regardless of reality, you're seeing a different version of them from another time. You know what I'm just I I've had this conversation with somebody else and it made total sense. So I don't know why. You know. Anyway, somebody out there has to understand what I'm talking about.
Danny wants to bang Matt.
Not. Never mind. She's a beautiful woman for her age. Yes.
Yeah, so you want to bang her.
No, I don't.
So if she walked into your room right now and said, "Okay, Danny, I'm all yours,"
No. You know what I would want to do? I would say, hey,
and she unfolded her
no.
breasts for you,
I would probably be like, hey, let's just cuddle on the couch and watch a movie because I don't want to
you
break
would not, dude. Come
you
on.
know, maybe some kissing, but like there'd be no love making there. You know, just she's too old and brittle. It wouldn't work. You know.
So now he's backpedaling because a couple of weeks ago you were like, "Oh yeah,
Well, hold up. So hold up. Hey, this is totally fair. Totally fair. And actually, the majority of this was more than 4 weeks ago. You got to remember, I'm 31 days sober today. So I'm gonna
Oh,
be
so the more
probably
sober you get, the more you
so
realize what a bad idea banging a 90-year-old would be.
not just that, but I've come to many realizations that lots of stuff I said was stupid, you know, and it was embarrassing being like that. So, you know, I'll eat my crow, I'll even deal with it for as long as until I get my year chip, because that's kind of how my kids are right now. Or, well, my youngest two, they're like, yeah, whatever, Dad, show me your 1 year chip. Okay, I will. You know,
So you're going to cancel your subscription to 70-year-old jugs?
you're so stupid. Oh my God, I don't. You know,
I saw the credit
you,
card bill.
you're really weird, Michael. I don't have any credit cards, but you know, like I don't even watch porn anymore to masturbate since
Well, that's good.
reading the Bible more and stuff, man. Like you're making me uncomfortable with this
No, it
jug
doesn't
thing.
mean you can't joke about it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. Stan, you're disgusting.
What did Stan say?
I'm
Oh,
not
eat
going to
her
repeat it.
crap.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
disgusting.
well, she'd make that sound. That.
See, this episode was so short. We're already done reviewing everything. That's why I said we should have
Yeah.
done this one first, because there was way more we could have pontificated about the Kong movie. Which, by the way, is a Kong movie. Godzilla gets top billing, but this is Kong's movie, man. If you ask me, like
It's not even Kong. I said that early on. I
it's
said
more so his
this
movie
is
than
Skull
Godzilla.
Island 2 featuring Godzilla.
But it's not Skull Island. They're in Hollow Earth.
Yes,
You know.
but they talk about Skull Island
Well,
throughout the movie.
yeah, and that tribe. Spoiler alerts: 3, 2, 1. That tribe is
The Iwi.
extinct. Yeah, but their only remaining ones are in Hollow Earth.
No, they're in subterranean super hollow Earth.
Which is inside Hollow Earth. But yeah, okay, whatever.
Because you got to get it right, man. Subterranean super hollow Earth trumps hollow Earth. Yes, Danny does want. Yeah, Danny, you did say you wanted to be the candle.
I believe that I did. Yes, again, I was probably intoxicated at the time, but that's fine. That's why I quit drinking, because I say dumb shit like that.
And, Stan, I would agree that it may be hard to make Godzilla emote, but they basically make Godzilla literally just a rampaging monster. Whereas in Godzilla 2014, which go back and watch that movie, Godzilla had more character in that movie than he does here.
Yeah, you're right. In fact, he kind of comes off as a meathead jock type character. Let me explain. One scene in particular, when Kong comes up right before their pyramid fight. So this is at Giza, and Kong's trying to communicate with him, and he's even being like, he's got his palms out, which means even if they're not speaking the same language, Kong is clearly like, hey, I don't want to fight you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Godzilla's just seeing red for some reason, and just beelines to fight Kong, and then Kong has to and I loved it. Kong didn't want to fight, and who won that fight? Kong did. We cut to he's dragging, which first you can't even tell he's dragging Godzilla by the tail. It almost kind of looks like Godzilla's walking, but what it is it's like he's being drugged by the tail, and his hands are like moving with the ground.
Yeah.
I did like how they did that reveal. That was cool. Um, but
But
yeah,
we were talking about, like, because I mentioned earlier about how Godzilla minus one only cost $15 million compared to 130 million for this
yeah,
and 200 million for the last one.
yeah,
And the here's the problem is that it's the insane amount of waste on a Hollywood big budget movie. Do you remember? And because there is a single shot of Godzilla standing on the Rock of Gibraltar, and then after he roars into the sky, he does a big dive into the ocean to go confront Kong.
yes, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
For that one shot
Uh-huh.
is an entire film crew that was flown to Gibraltar. I kid you not. Look at the credits. There's an
Really?
entire Gibraltar unit in the credits.
Wow,
And I was like, wait, really? So you
wow.
you sent camera crew, you sent a director of photography, you sent gaffers, you sent all these people.
Well, no, they probably they all they did was shoot
All
the
they did was shoot the rock.
the rock. Yeah, that's all they did. So it wasn't
They
probably
took
that many
one
people.
shot of. Yeah, but look at the credits. There's like 50 names there.
Really? Wow,
Yes.
that's funny.
Electricians, carpenters, everything. It's like, for real? I was absolutely shocked that they had this entire film crew sent to Gibraltar to shoot a picture of a rock. By the way, that you just stuck a big CG monster on top of.
Yeah,
How
that's
about you just make a CG rock? Nobody would have
right.
known the difference.
Nobody would. It would have probably even looked better because it would have been all CG instead of
Yeah.
CG mixed with practical. Yeah, that was weird. That's weird. That's to note that. Yeah, because that's all they do is they just.
But that's Hollywood. That's the problem right there. Is Hollywood all the time will spend, like, especially nowadays, more and more, because Hollywood has been struggling to make itself more relevant. You notice that movies are becoming more and more, shall we say, international.
Mhm.
Where not only do they go to different locations around the world, but they usually feature characters of different nationalities to try and appeal to a wider market, right? So they want to appeal to the Chinese so they can get into the Chinese movie markets. Obviously, for Western Europe, it's not that difficult. They already have a good foothold there. But if they want to get into African markets, they need to, and Australian and all the. So, in order to get into these markets and appeal to the people of those areas, Hollywood has this dumbass idea, and they've had this for a long time now. Hollywood thinks that the only way that somebody can enjoy a film is if they see themselves reflected on the screen. That's it. There's no other way to enjoy a movie. Because that's why we need gay people, trans people, black people, white people, Asian people. Well, we don't need white people anymore because there's lots of other movies with white people. But we need Asian people. We need, Hispanic people. We need every single type of person that you can superficially divine and put them on screen so that that type of person can identify with the film. And in doing so, you end up sending an entire film crew to Gibraltar to take a picture of a big ass rock.
And it would have been way cheaper to just do the whole shot CG,
Yeah.
and probably
That
would
was
have
a
looked
pretty
better.
good rant, I think.
Probably would have looked better. No, it was a good rant. You should clip that out as a short. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, that was just a picture of a big ass rock. That's what we got. And
There
it's
was
not even like, I mean, it's not a particularly beautiful picture of the Rock of Gibraltar. It just looks like, oh, it's a summer day.
It's like, it's
Yeah.
the Rock of Gibraltar. Cool. Yeah.
And where? Let's see. I gotta look now. Okay, Rock of Gibraltar. So the Rock of Gibraltar is at the southern tip of Spain, which I didn't know that. So just sorry, I'm ignorant. So the distance between Gibraltar and Egypt is roughly, just looking at a map, roughly the distance from California to New York. All right.
Oh, what is that? 3,000 miles,
It's
roughly.
probably between 2,000 and 3,000 miles.
Okay.
Kong literally yells, and Godzilla hears it. How? Because
Titans.
if Kong's roar,
Maybe it's more of like a sense because they can sense the radiation. They can they
well,
can sense each
no,
other. They sense
what
each other.
Godzilla was sensing was the telepathic vibes coming from the Inuit. Or
So maybe
Inuit.
that's what he heard. No, well, but him and Kong.
There's
have
nothing
always
that
had a
says Kong
connection.
is telepathic.
Yeah, he's not Grodd. So
Yeah,
there's that.
so Kong signs with the girls. So yeah, he
That
doesn't
was
have
a flash joke for those of you who didn't get the reference.
Yeah.
Grodd is, of course, a telepathic
right.
giant gorilla.
So yeah, so if Kong's voice, because the way they shot it, it really did seem like the two of them heard each other.
Yeah, and yeah, but that's
But
why I like that scene
if they're
in
two or
Shazam.
three, if his voice can carry for 2,000 miles, everybody in Egypt when Kong roars is deaf for the rest of their life.
Right.
You know, and if Godzilla's response can be heard all the way back in Egypt, then everybody in Spain is deaf for the rest of their life. So we have everybody in two countries deaf, plus everybody in Rio is dead.
We already buried this.
And
movie. I
Daniel,
know
yes,
we're just
you can see Morocco, but Egypt is a couple of thousand miles east. So that's where I was. That's why I wanted to look at the map. In fact, here I'll put the map on screen so you know what I'm looking at here. All right. So do you see? Yeah, you can see my mouse pointer, right? So right
Yep.
here, that green pip, that is the Rock of Gibraltar. Egypt is over here.
Yep.
Okay, so the entire span of the Mediterranean Sea.
So it's realistic that he swam from the Rock of
Oh,
Gibraltar.
sure,
to
the swimming isn't the problem. The problem
Maybe just
is that they hurt each other.
there's a lot of problems with this movie. In fact, I mean, for the last 13 minutes, we really I guess 23 minutes because we were late. We should just talk about something else. Like we already buried this, movie. The X-Men episode was a little underwhelming. Anything else happened since we talked last that we both are privy to in the pop culture world or whatever?
Well, I told you about Silver Surfer.
Yeah, you did. I know you're not into wrestling, man, but The Rock.
Why do no
Hold up. I just
no
want to say no. Hold up. Dwayne Johnson, the actor. Okay, let me lead with that. Okay, he's like it's funny because what are your opinions on Dwayne Johnson, the person, as a human? Like, what are you?
I don't really have much of an opinion. No,
Are you a fan of his? Do you not like his stuff? Do you know?
Well, as far as his films are concerned,
Yeah,
he's okay in some of the stuff, but do I think he's a good actor? Not particularly.
Okay, so you don't really care one way or the other about the guy.
No, I mean, he's a big buff guy that likes to make movies,
Well, there are a
and
lot of people
he
that
by
do
the way
have-
broke the DCEU.
Oh, well, see, so you kind of seems like indifferent to negative, maybe.
Well,
There's a lot-
I that left a sour taste in my mouth. If you're asking me about the man personally,
Yes, I am.
but as far as his acting stuff, I'm kind of indifferent because I haven't seen him do anything that I was really blown away by.
and I agree. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sean Connery.
But
You know,
Schwarzenegger, have you seen The Last Stand?
The Last Stand.
I think that's what. Yeah, it's a smaller film where Schwarzenegger was playing a local sheriff.
No, that wasn't The Last Stand. I've seen the movie you're talking about. I like that movie. That wasn't called The Last Stand.
I thought it was. Maybe it's called The Stand. No, it's not The Stand. That's the Stephen King book.
Yeah, I'll look it up because I know exactly the movie you're talking about because it's. I love the bus scene. It's got Johnny Knoxville in it. It's fucking really good. Actually.
And no, The Rock was not originally supposed to play Shazam. He was Black Adam all along. That's the part he wanted from the very beginning.
Yeah, totally. Whoever said that, you're way off. So
He wanted to play Black Adam before Shazam was even cast.
all right. So okay, what are we? Okay, so oh.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's not go
No,
down.
you're right. You're right. It's called The Last Stand. You are right. Okay.
That Schwarzenegger delivers a solid performance in that
movie is 11 years old, by the way. So.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that to me, that was the movie where I said, "Holy crap, Schwarzenegger can act." That was my reaction to that movie, because he was damn good. But anyway, you were asking about The Rock, not about Schwarzenegger. So what about him?
Well, anyway, you're always the exception, but most people in real life that don't know The Rock from wrestling have a favorable opinion of him. You know what I mean? And whether it's with stuff he does with football, with charities, with $7 Productions, his acting, his philanthropic work, whatever. And whenever he's doing talk shows and stuff like that, he's always, really sweet, always showing videos of him playing with his daughters. The audience always loves him, So anyway, you take that and the work he's doing now in wrestling, I don't know if you know this, he's been back basically full time for a couple months now. Okay. And he is playing the worst villain they've ever had. I mean, he's dropping F-bombs. He is beating people like bloody, which WWE has not done on television in decades. And it's beating them bloody.
By beating them bloody, what he means is popping blood packs on them. But go ahead.
No, they actually blade themselves.
They do not.
No, they do. They cut themselves to bleed. That's why do you think those wrestlers like Dusty Rhodes have all those scars on their forehead? That's from anyway. And it's crazy to see. I mean, he's dropping F-bombs where they blur out his mouth and bleep the word. He's like talking to Cody. He's like, he's just being despicable, and it's hilarious because he's.
Well, I wouldn't believe it. I mean, that's the problem. Is because with don't.
Well, no, it's very believable, bro. If you watched it,
it's not. But here's the problem. I don't find anything in wrestling believable, and so to see The Rock come out and try to be like, yeah, I'm a bad guy now, I'd be like, yeah, whatever.
He literally, it was.
I did like The Rock in the movie San Andreas. I'll give him that. I liked him in
my favorite movie is probably still The Rundown. I love that movie. Have you seen it?
Nope.
It's his first big, good action movie. It's the one. It's got a cameo with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the beginning. They walk past each other in a nightclub, and Arnold looks up to him and he says, "Good luck," and he just walks off. And they did that kind of to symbolize that Arnold wanted to symbolize passing the torch to the new future action star because he shot that scene while I believe he was still in politics.
Stanley, was Rampage better than this movie?
I haven't seen Rampage.
I have. I would say it's mildly better, but it doesn't have nearly as much action. So this movie has a lot of action in it. And so, which makes this movie have a little bit more fun.
Invader, you're correct, man. The best version of The Rock has always been Bad Guy Rock.
But so Vader, you're the idiot.
This is Bad Guy Rock on crack.
Danny's Vader. Danny says you're a complete moron.
That is not true. It's on video. You can rewind.
No, that's pretty much what you said.
That is not at all what I said.
You said he really likes this movie.
No, this is no. You can replay it, but this is exactly what I said. I said because you were talking about Godzilla -1, and I said Vader loved this movie but didn't like Godzilla -1. Go figure. That's what I said.
Because said he's calling you an idiot.
No, I'm not. Different tastes, different strokes for different folks. What did Godzilla -1 had 15 minutes of monster in an hour and a half of the human story. This movie had an hour and a half of monsters and 15, 20 minutes of the human story.
It had a lot more. I don't know why you're thinking that. There was more monster in this, but it was not that much. You make it seem like the whole movie was monsters. Maybe half the movie was monsters, but it wasn't nearly as much as you think it was.
Different kind of movies. That's what it felt like to me, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
different kinds of movies. Godzilla -1 was good, and this movie was crap.
Don't do that. No. They are though. Yeah.
This movie was pure junk food at best.
It was. Yeah, that's what Saturday morning cartoon just happened to be a live action version. That's what it felt like.
But you know what? There was a Godzilla Saturday morning cartoon. You know.
Well, there you go. They probably
there was an actual Godzilla Saturday morning cartoon, and it was better than this movie.
How do I? We're using EV Mux. How do I give Vader a link to join us? I've never done
you
that
can
before.
if you want Vader you can click on the invite guest, and that will give you the link.
Where is invite guest? If I saw
the bottom of your screen.
Okay, invite guest.
But you're not putting it in the chat. Just send it.
No, I'm gonna Vader Discord.
Because the last thing we need is 75 people jumping up here. Yeah, Vader's at work.
Okay, I misunderstood him. I thought he said...
It was Novanex that wanted to come on.
Oh, Novanex. Okay. Sorry.
Which sounds like a nasal decongestant.
Is it okay if I invite my friend Novanex to talk for a second or no?
He's a friend of yours? I don't know who Novanex is. So.
Well, you probably don't. He's a wrestling guy. So he probably wants to talk wrestling. So, and you don't want to. So, yeah.
If you want to talk about Godzilla or X-Men or Lady Silver Surfer, sure, you can come on.
Okay.
But I don't feel like talking about wrestling. No,
I know. Yeah, that's why. So
because I don't like talking about things of which I know nothing. You know what I know about wrestling? I know that some people who I've seen in movies were also wrestlers. You know, that's about it.
You know, I just rewatched Roadhouse, the old one with Patrick Swayze, because I watched the new one and I wanted to kind of like refresh.
Oh, Novanex is a big Godzilla guy. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'll send you the link.
Well, I've seen every Godzilla movie, so we could have a discussion on that.
Good. Yeah, I'll let you guys nerd out over Godzilla, and I can be the research department for a change.
This was not a Godzilla movie at all.
I just sent you the link, Novanex. Check your DMs on Discord.
Again, this is a King Kong movie featuring Godzilla.
Totally.
Yeah.
It is. This is King Kong's movie.
This is Skull Island 2. And unfortunately, it does not do Skull Island justice.
But Godzilla's lawyers were better because he got top billing.
Well, you know, the interesting thing, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but they never call him King Kong because of legal issues.
Yeah, they only call him Kong.
Yeah. They can't call him King Kong.
They really? Oh.
Yeah. So it's funny because Godzilla is still, and even if you look in the credits, it says this movie is based on Godzilla and Mothra created by Toho Pictures. There's no mention of King Kong.
Wow. Interesting.
And so they're basically acting like Kong is an original kaiju.
Is that why? Okay, there's that line in Skull Island where they don't call him King Kong.
No, but they say he's the king.
He's the king around here. Is the line. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, you will never hear them say King Kong. Like, this should be King Kong versus Godzilla, or King Kong and Godzilla.
Yeah.
You know, just like the last movie should have been King Kong versus Godzilla, but it's not. It's just Kong. You know, and that's
Godzilla
why
X Kong, A Tale of Two Kings.
You know, maybe it's because they're both supposed to be girls and they were in a scissor. That's why there's an X. That would have been interesting.
Oh, Vader, you're probably right, buddy. He says neither of us has good taste. Well, thanks for checking in on us while you're at work.
Well, I would disagree with you, Vader.
If you're still there, Vader, by the way, here, let me put that.
You're right about Danny. He has no taste.
Whatever. Look at that, buddy. I got my 1 month chip yesterday, Vader. So you guys won't even recognize.
So is Nasal Naze coming or what?
Oh, I don't know. I sent him the link. If he is, he is. No, he's not.
So, but yeah, the very first movie I saw in theaters was Godzilla versus Megalon,
Really? Wow.
and now the most recent movie I've seen in theaters is the remake. So, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
Daniel
I think
says maybe they should call Godzilla Zilla. Well, no, this is a different franchise. Look, this Godzilla, like if you're just trying to rank monsters based on toughness, because Zilla was a punk. All right, Zilla is you know about Zilla, right?
nope.
Okay,
I'm not as into the Godzilla universe as you are.
Zilla is the official name of the Godzilla that was in the Matthew Broderick Godzilla film.
That's the first Godzilla movie I saw. To give you any kind of idea. Uh-oh. Are you doing this?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
so.
Nova, I think he has you have to be on camera policy on this show, I think. Is that right?
If
Oh,
you have
hello there, everybody. Could you hear me?
I can
Yes.
hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
Okay.
Trying
Do you have something other than a gray screen you can show us?
Yeah, he usually has a on camera only policy. I forgot about that.
Let me change my avatar. Give me 1 second. I got to do something more appealing.
Your voice sounds familiar. Have we ever talked?
Not
I
too
doubt it,
sure.
man. I know
go
this
around
dude through
YouTube
wrestling.
quite often. I'm not a JCS guy, like primarily. I'm my own guy. I've been doing YouTube since 2011. So
Okay.
Oh, cool. He doesn't know who JCS is though, but that's fine.
the Cronin
I-
guy.
I know who you're talking about. He doesn't. He's got no clue.
All right, here you go.
He couldn't care less about wrestling.
There we go.
All right. No, that's better.
More appealing.
Now you look like a variant of the coronavirus.
Hey, we got a new subscriber. Well, hey, why don't you two Godzilla nerds chat? Because I don't know.
Alright,
I don't know
so-
enough to like handle that
So
conversation.
I assume you've seen this movie.
Yes, I have.
And by
Cool.
movie, I'm got to put that in quotation marks. But yeah,
Oh no, here we go. Are we talking spoilers or non?
yeah.
Yeah,
We've
full
we've
spoiler.
already spoiled the whole movie. So yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, well, as a huge fan of the kaiju genre and the monsters, this movie was pretty damn good as a kaiju movie. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a Godzilla movie, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
It, however, is mainly more focused on Kong and his finding his home,
Right.
which clearly the villain.
Well, not even finding his home, finding his people.
Finding his people, his actual home, which is his people. So
Right.
Oh, hey Vader, thanks for stopping by. He just said peace out. Have a good show.
And they're having a little bit of trouble hearing you. So if you could get closer to your mic, Nova.
yes, I gotta. What do you call it? I need to update my mic on here. I've never been on this platform right here. The
EV Mux.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little different than StreamYard.
Yeah. I usually use what's that program called? Some biscuit eater. OBS. I'm an OBS guy, so
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah. Give me 1 second. You guys could chit chat. I will figure this out.
For sure. So you were saying about the Zillas, the Matthew Broderick Godzilla.
Okay, yeah. So back when the 1990 whatever Godzilla movie,
7, 6.
yeah,
Like that, yeah.
so they called that Godzilla. That was the first attempt for an American production company to make a Godzilla movie. The Japanese were so offended by it that they literally bought the rights for that version of Godzilla just so that they could include him in a future Godzilla movie and have Godzilla curb stomp that creature, and they renamed it Zilla.
Really? See, I didn't know.
Yes,
That's
that
crazy.
is the kaiju. The Godzilla verse kaiju is like as intricate and intertwined as your WWE stuff. I mean, there's like dozens of movies with all these different leveled monsters and who can beat who and all that. Sometimes, by the way, Godzilla is the good guy. Sometimes he's the bad guy. Just kind of depends on what phase he's in. But yeah, so they definitely want to. They basically had Zilla charge Godzilla, and then Godzilla shot him with the laser breath and killed him instantly.
Yeah, are we talking about Final Wars right here?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of ironic because
Wow. See, I don't even. That's cool.
back in 2004, Final Wars was supposed to be a huge celebration for the Godzilla franchise, but
Yeah.
it massively tanked in its box office, and
Well, because it
Godzilla
was
was
stupid.
almost
I never
yeah,
even
and
heard of
it
this
was
movie.
honestly going to be shelved. The whole
Yeah.
Godzilla character was going to be shelved by Toho, but thankfully, years later, it's back
Right.
and killing it at the box office with -1 and GXK, which
But
is
you see,
quite the
I think
milestone.
no, I don't know what you think. I think -1 was clearly a better film.
Oh, obviously,
Yeah.
with
See, I haven't seen
Godzilla,
-1 either. So,
Yeah.
he's a
what were your
very
thoughts on -1, Novinix? Because I don't know.
-1 was a fantastic film, not just
Okay, so you
Godzilla
both
film,
agree.
but
Okay.
movie in general. It's incredibly fantastic. Storyline, human characters too, which is a rarity in these kaiju films.
Not
They
just a
were
rare.
incredibly developed.
I would dare say this is the only Godzilla film where if you took Godzilla out of the movie, it's still a good movie.
Yes, precisely. And I feel like with the Godzilla character, he's been a force of nature and also like a superhero type character for many different movies, many different genres. Each one like 1954, Shin Godzilla, Final Wars, Godzilla 2000. They're all their own different genres and stories. It's the same thing what the MonsterVerse is doing compared to say -1. -1 was meant to be a tribute to the original 1954 movie, while GXK was trying to be a tribute to the old Showa films from back in the 70s.
Oh, look at this. You must be a millennial. GXK. Did you hear that?
Yeah, no,
Just
GXK.
GXK. I'm gonna. We're just we're old
Okay.
farts, man. We're just old.
The New Empire. I'm just gonna call it New Empire.
You know what? And I don't know if you heard me say this earlier, but this is what my thoughts on this. This movie is Godzilla versus Megalon with $130 million budget.
Pretty much, yeah. You are right on the money there. But hey, who doesn't like a good monster, a monster action? That's what people want to pay
Well, that's why
money
I
to
think
see.
Danny
That's
would
what they're
enjoy
gonna
Godzilla versus Megalon because it is just the WWE with except the guys are wearing
one of
rubbers.
those? Is it one of those ones I can watch on YouTube for free? Or
I don't know if Godzilla versus Megalon is on for free. Just look for it. It's called Godzilla versus Megalon, spelt just like it sounds. And it's one of the movies that actually one of the very few movies that got Mystery Science Theater 3000 in trouble.
well, it's from '73.
Yes,
So
first
oh,
movie.
it's on HBO Max.
Okay.
So I don't have it.
Well, maybe we can watch it on a Saturday.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's now, Nova. Do you know about
What was that?
do
Sorry,
you know about what
I heard
happened with Mystery Science Theater in that movie?
I
hold up.
honestly no, I have no idea. Care to explain?
Well, okay, so Mystery Science Theater actually did two Godzilla films in their early seasons, and the thing about Mystery Science Theater is, of course, what they did was they would always take movies that were in the public domain, and that way they wouldn't have to pay for the movies. How and there was a thing where and by the way, Godzilla versus Megalon, you can find like 800 different versions of DVDs and VHSs of that movie because it was public domain, except that it wasn't. It was
Oh
this
no, I
huge snafu with the old Godzilla movies because what defines copyright in as far as in the way that U.S. copyright law works is that a movie must have a copyright date in the credits of the film. If there's no copyright date in the credits of the film, there is no copyright. It's public domain automatically. And there's no copyright date in Godzilla versus Megalon. So they figured, like so many others, that they were in the clear to put this movie on their show and riff it, and they did a great job with it. However, as it turns out, well, there's no copyright on the dubbed version. There is copyright on the original Japanese version.
that
So
is interesting.
here's how that works out legally speaking. What is public domain is the English dubbing. but all the visuals are copyrighted by Toho.
Wow.
And so Mystery Science Theater got in some copyright trouble for that one. And that's why that and the other Godzilla movie they riffed were removed from their DVDs because of it.
Damn. I had no idea.
Which is too bad because it's one of their funniest riffs.
See, I can't.
I actually have a copy of it from an old VHS recording.
Really?
Yes.
What was your guys' overall thoughts on, say, the storyline and the villains of New Empire?
Okay, Scar King, complete waste of space. They should have had a primary villain that felt threatening. Because in a straight up fight, Kong could have curb stomped Scar. And Kong is the weaker of the two between Godzilla and Kong, obviously. And so Kong could have easily taken down Scar. The only reason Scar had anything going for it is because he had control over Mishu or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Shimo.
The Ice
Shimo.
Titan.
Yeah.
Shimo.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it was nice being on here real quick. I thought I would be on here longer. However, apparently I have a date to go to, so
Oh,
I
wow.
will
Well, that
most
timing works
likely
out
be
pretty
back.
good.
I'm
'Cause,
not too sure. Well,
I gotta
you guys
go
have a
too.
wonderful show, and
Thanks.
let me know. Maybe I'll join you sometime.
Sure.
All right.
Take care.
All right. You guys have a good night.
You too.
Well, that was suddenly and ridiculously abruptly.
Hey, he talked Godzilla, then he had to go, and we actually hit the 2 hour mark. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Kinda,
But what did you think of Scar?
we already talked about it.